Hello. Hello, replay people. I am over here scrolling through the JillBooks.com page that I had originally started in 2015, which was when I first became an author. And going through it is something I really need to do. I'm going to try super hard not to cry, but I gotta say, I'm very emotional lately because I'm coming up on 3 years since I lost the love of my life. And I didn't get to be with him for very long. I met him in 2017, and almost within the first 10 minutes of meeting him, I was like, and I don't normally feel that way. I did feel that way about my ex-husband too. And one or two guys over the years, but Ray was the one who really captured my heart. I should be wearing my Ray necklace. I can't find it right now. I can't find anything because I am all over the place. Anyway, I realized that a lot of people are now looking at my page, many with a very critical eye. They don't know me. They don't know who I am. But I've gained a little bit of notoriety because of some recent drama. Let's just call it drama. And I don't really want to give so much voice to that. But if people are coming to see who is this Jill Cohen woman, well, I'm about to tell you, because I do realize that there are a lot of new people, like I said, looking at my page for whatever reason. And some of you might just stumble on it, although I find it hard to believe because Facebook has been hiding my page for the past couple of years. It's been very difficult, and the stories that I'm going to show you now, I call them stories, they're the videos that I've made over the past 10 years, were on another page called JillBooks.com. And that was the page that I originally started. And Facebook let it be stolen by foreigners from another country, actually, Bosnia, of all places. And I couldn't get it back. They told me to verify my identity. I did several times, hi Donna, and they just wouldn't give it back. But it sits there. It's called JillBooks.com. Good morning, Cindy from New York. And you should go over to it. If you want to really know who I am, go binge watch JillBooks.com, the Facebook page, because it's a lot of fun. And I'm going through it myself, and I can see my very first live was 9 years ago. And it's called Who Wants to Go for a Walk? And it's on a beach, but it's all the way on the West Coast in Cannon Beach. Hi, Susan. Try to say hi to everybody as they come in. Yeah, Facebook. Well, JillBooks.com still exists, Donna. You guys can go and see it, and I hope that you do, because it's kind of like you can binge watch a reality show. That is my life for the past almost 10 years. The White Hats are running the social media. Well, I hope that they don't take these videos down like they keep threatening to, but they haven't yet. But seeing that it is actually my 10th anniversary as a live podcaster on the Beach Report, I thought I should go through it. And this way, everybody will get to know who I am, exactly who I am. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Rosalind. And understand, yes, Jamie cannot make me an administrator because she is not an administrator. Had I made my sister Jamie an administrator, I wouldn't have this problem. But instead, I just gave her rights for posting, which was a big mistake because my sister posts a lot of stuff not related to the JillBooks.com Beach Report thing. I love my sister, but girl, she's all about animals. Bless her heart. I love her so much. But she was always posting this animal stuff and it was like, just not things that I wanted posted. So I kept telling her, Jamie, stop doing that. And eventually she did. I get it though. I get it. It's okay. I love her very much. But anyway, no, I wish I could make her an administrator, or that she was. Wish I had made her an administrator, but I didn't. Anyway, looking at all of these posts from JillBooks.com, oh my gosh, the memories are flooding back. So, it reminds me of who I was before COVID and who I am now, 3 years later, which is about the time, I don't know if that's when COVID ended, but that's when my life really took a hurricane force turn, and I ended up losing everything. I lost my husband. I lost the house that we lived in. We didn't own it, but Ray had been paying for it to eventually own it. So I don't know. I was kicked out, and I had my own things taken, not just Ray's. They took Ray's things, they took my things, and by they, I don't need to accuse certain people. I'm just going to call them these people they, because they are dangerous people who could hurt me. I know this, so if they're watching, I realize that whatever. I don't want to call attention to myself like that. I am not a person who wants to hurt anyone. I am certainly not a thief. I believe that in this world, good morning, Cecile. In this world, you get something very precious, which is your soul and the love of other people. So for me, material goods and money, it just doesn't mean that much. And since Ray passed away and the hurricane took everything else, and I'm just going to call the hurricane like the hurricane of bad people and negativity and all sorts of stuff wrapped into one. Anyway, I think that it was God's way of kind of cleansing me. I could have had all this stuff, right? But when you have a lot of stuff, you become kind of a slave to it, and you have to pay for it, and you have to keep it and maintain it and all this stuff. I love you, Tammy. Hi. And it's hard to be like that. But before COVID, I always had a home. I lived with Sue in Sue's mansion, by the way. I paid her rent, and she was my roommate. And before that, I had other roommates. I got divorced in 2007 or 8, I don't know, after having lived in Switzerland living in America and Switzerland. I have a very long history, and I've had an extraordinary life with a lot of twists and turns and a lot of different, like a cat, a lot of different lives. For those of you who don't know who I am, I want to say one thing about judging other people. It is very, you never see U-Haul in a funeral procession. Good one, Lucy. But when you judge other people, you have to realize that doing so is, beside it being completely unfair, because really, who are you? But it's harmful, not just to you, but to everybody else, even around you, if you're affecting other people. So I did want to go to the Bible, which is my go-to all the time when something happens to me that is vexing to my heart. And I need to, hi Victoria, I need to understand what's happening, because, God gives us these lessons. And sometimes something happens to you and you're like, man, this is so unfair. This is so mean. Why is this happening? And then you realize it's a lesson, and God wants you to learn it. And he wants everyone around you to learn it. And since I am an educator, he wants me to help everybody to learn it. So when I am given this kind of an assignment, I take it very seriously, because it is very important. And I am right now the victim of some pretty bad defamation. And you know what? That's okay, because it doesn't matter what other people say about you. It's really none of your business. And if you take that very seriously, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it only matters what God thinks of you. So you have to know who you are. And you have to know what God expects of you. And this is why I always consult him when stuff happens, okay? So if you ever find yourself in a bad situation, please go consult the Lord. Either you talk to him or you look in the Bible. You just look for guidance and you look for signs. I mean, heck, I showed you guys that rattlesnake in the yard more than a week ago. Just saying. Just saying. He sends me signs. But you know, it's funny, when I saw the rattlesnake and I realized it was a rattlesnake, and it was a very big rattlesnake. But I was not afraid of it because I heard in my head Ray saying, baby, just leave him be. Leave the snake be. He beautiful. Take some good video of him. That's what he told me to do, and that's what I did. And I didn't get hurt by the snake. Well, not that snake anyway. However, clearly it was prophesized, and it was something that was going to happen, and it did. And now we all have to learn from it. So in Matthew 7:1, it says, do not judge, or you too shall be judged. This verse, which is part of the Sermon on the Mount, emphasizes that judging others can lead to being judged by the same standards. Matthew 7:3 also highlights the hypocrisy of focusing on others' minor flaws while ignoring one's own major flaws. Cecile says, we can learn from things we go through to be better or bitter. Oh, I love that. Be better, not bitter. That's a really good one. We should make a meme out of it. Darla says, the Lord will direct you on what you are to do. Seek him. Exactly. And that's why I'm here talking about it. I'm not here to give a voice to anything negative. In fact, I think when an opportunity like this presents itself, it behooves us to learn from it. And I have learned a lot. I sure have. And I also have to say, hi little. Yes, God only knows. We have all been there. No one should judge. Just keep being who you are. We love you the way you are. I love you guys too. Hey, Rosalind. Yes, glory to be to God. Okay. So Matthew 7:3 says, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? That's a really famous one. And it's, very clear that we are not to look at others in judgment when we all have our own flaws. And, Lucy, you can't think of it as a friend turning on you, because people have free will to do what they will do. And you don't really know what they're going through. And sometimes people use scapegoats. And they want to blame somebody for their problems, when really it's not usually one person's fault. I mean, unless somebody has actually wronged you and, went behind your back and told all your followers what a horrible person you are. I think that's pretty nasty. And I'm not lying about that, because I've got witnesses right here who tell you that that is exactly what happened. And the only thing that I wanted to do is to let people know that if somebody contacts you, and I want you to know this because it's not the first time it's happened, and it certainly is not going to be the last. But if someone contacts you to tell you that I'm a bad person, or someone else who's an influencer is a bad person, and be scared of them, I think that you should question the source before you go after this person you don't even know. And if you have a bad feeling, or, the source seems really reliable, well, you might want to just go to that influencer and say, hey, I heard this about you. Is it true? Give them a chance, the opportunity to either defend themselves or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to defend yourself against blatant lies. It is very hurtful, Lucy. But at the same time, these people who don't know me and don't know who I am, They need to learn the lesson of do not judge people, especially when you have no idea who they are, or you just heard something from this person and you're going to hate this other person because of what they said. I mean, really? Be better. Be better, not bitter. But exactly, Darla, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Here's another good one. This is John 7:24. Stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly. So, that's interesting because it is saying to actually judge. I mean, you do have to have discernment. All right, I'm just going to read this to you where Jesus goes to the Festival of Tabernacles. Glass houses indeed, Regina. After this, Jesus went around in Galilee. He did not want to go about in Judea because the Jewish leaders there were looking for a way to kill him. But when the Jewish Festival of Tabernacles was near, Jesus' brothers said to him, "Leave Galilee and go to Judea so that your disciples there may see the works you do. No one who wants to become a public figure acts in secret." Right there. "Since you are doing these things, show yourself to the world." For even his own brothers did not believe in him. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing. See, watch. See, look, I'm doing it. Thanks, sorry. Sorry, I get so excited when I know that I'm on the right path. It makes me cry. It makes me so excited. Listen to this. I'm learning so much from Jesus, like right now, right in front of you guys. I hope you're learning too. For even his own brothers did not believe in him. Therefore, Jesus told them, "My time is not yet here. For you, any time will do. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify that its works are evil. You go to the festival. I'm not going to this festival because my time has not yet fully come." After he said this, he stayed in Galilee. However, after his brothers had left for the festival, he went also, not publicly, but in secret. Now at the festival, the Jewish leaders were watching for Jesus and asking, "Where is he?" Among the crowds, there was widespread whispering about him. Some said, "He is a good man." Others replied, "No, he deceives the people." But no one would say anything publicly about him for fear of the leaders. Not until halfway through the festival did Jesus go up to the temple courts and begin to teach. The Jews were amazed and asked, "How did this man get such learning without having been taught?" Jesus answered, "My teaching is not my own. It comes from the one who sent me." Like Rush Limbaugh always said, talent on loan from God. That's how I feel too. Anyone who chooses to do the will of God will find out whether my teaching comes from God or whether I speak on my own. Whoever speaks on their own does so to gain personal glory, but he who seeks the glory of the one who sent him is a man of truth. There is nothing false about him. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet not one of you keeps the law. Why are you trying to kill me? Oh, I'm glad you're here, Melissa. I'm right in the middle of reading scripture, but stay tuned. Stay on. I need a tissue. Hold on. This is very emotional for me. I'm not acting, by the way. This is the real Jill, okay? You are demon-possessed, the crowd answered. Who is trying to kill you? Jesus said to them, I did one miracle, and you are all amazed. Yet because Moses gave you circumcision, though actually it did not come from Moses, but from the patriarch, patriarchs, you circumcise a boy on the Sabbath. Now, if a boy can be circumcised on the Sabbath so that the law of Moses may not be broken, why are you angry with me for healing a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Stop judging by mere appearances, but instead, judge correctly. I don't feel guilty about anything, Carol. I have absolutely no guilt. Don't worry. Don't say I feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. I just want y'all to know who I am. I want y'all to know who you're dealing with. And you make your own decision whether or not to keep watching me or whatever. But please don't go forward in the world and say, I'm crazy, I'm wacky, I'm kooky. It's not good for you to do that. I'm just saying, you can think of that, but did your mom ever teach you that when you got nothing good to say, maybe you shouldn't be saying it? Because God is watching. God is watching you. And that's all I got to say about that. It's almost like having to prove your innocence, being assumed guilty first. It's hurtful and completely unfair. It is, Gina, but I am a public figure, and I have been for my entire life. Fact. I mean, not entire life. I graduated in 1987 from Ohio University with a degree in journalism. My first job was on the Jersey Shore at a little news magazine called The Sandpaper. And I began writing for it as one of their main writers and actually became an associate editor. Okay, so those of you who think I don't know how to work, I have always been a journalist. Ever since the day I graduated from college, from Ohio University, Scripps School of Journalism, 1987, BSJ, Bachelor of Science in Journalism. That's my degree. Hi, Lorena. So I want you to know that you're dealing with an absolute professional. Maybe sometimes you think she doesn't act like a professional. Well, how does a professional act? I don't know, but I'm a real person, and I've noticed in the past 10 years that a lot of people are fake. And they come on a show like they do a live show or whatever, and they're showing you their makeup face, or they've got a filter on or something like that, and they are, I don't know, maybe a green screen behind them or something. And they are showing you things that aren't really in their lives. But over the past 10 years, I have shared my life with all of you. And I've shown you everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. You've pretty much seen it all. Because I don't feel the need to hide anything. Not from anybody. I'm not ashamed of myself in any way, shape, or form. I have learned to be very comfortable with myself and in my own skin. And that's because of my love of Jesus. This is something that's kind of new for me. I mean, I just accepted Jesus in 2018. That wasn't very long ago, but it seems like a whole lifetime ago because I was born again on that day. And I did it in front of all of you too. So, all right, I need to go on. I'm loving reading this, and I hope that you're enjoying it too. Okay, we'll start here. I ended with stop judging by mere appearances, but instead judge correctly. Division over who Jesus is. Cecile says she often thinks of Sweet Muffin. I don't say this to make you sad, but for you to know that Muffin hasn't been forgotten. Thank you. Yeah, it's really hard. Muffin being gone makes Ray being gone even worse. I gotta say that. Thank you, Rosalind. I have been as transparent as a person can be on social media. And I don't lie about anything. If I get some of my facts and figures wrong, sorry, I didn't have a script in front of me. I just, like, for instance, people are freaking out because I said 3,000 people died in Fort Myers. Maybe it was that 3,000 people were affected. I don't know. But a lot of people died, and it was more than 100. I know that for a fact. So where I got that 3,000 number, I don't know. I've been saying it for a while. It just came out of my mouth because that's what I thought it was. So when I make a mistake, I always correct it. I am a journalist, first and foremost. even before being a mom, I'm a journalist. I mean, I love being a mom, and being a mom is always my biggest goal in life. And I am so blessed and pleased that I had two beautiful children who are thriving. And people say things about my children. Yes, during COVID, I had problems with my children. A lot of people did. And I am so happy to report to you that since then, we have made up. And my children are the brightest light in my life. Do they love that mom's a social media guru? Whatever. No, they don't love that. And that's fine for them. But they love me. And I know that unequivocally. That's why I wanted this to be a show about how did your life change after COVID? Because my life, oh my gosh. It went from crazy town to crazy, crazy town. It was... But before COVID, I was always a journalist. I was writing for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette up until like 2017. And then I started writing for the Southern News Guide. I signed an ND, what's that, whatever agreement. So I don't even want to say his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. You can say it in the comments because, you know, I got a lot of followers from writing for him for that year. And I learned a lot in that year. I learned how to, man, I used to write up to 21 articles in one day. You know, as a journalist, that fast writing is amazing. False information is just as fake as their character. No time for negative vibes. Keep shining. Thank you, Linda. You know, life might be back to normal for you, Dano, but it's never gone back to normal for me. And losing Muffin this year. You know, God told me that he was going to take her. He prepared me really well. And he said to me, I will save her every time you ask. And he kept his word. And you watched it. You watched me, you know, thinking this was the end. And then he would save her. It happened like 3-4 times. You know, it's actually started all the way back when she hurt her eye. Like 2 years ago. And I prayed then, and I prayed so hard, but I knew there came a time where I couldn't ask anymore, and I didn't. And now she's gone. And I'm sorry, I hate crying on here, and I know I'll make you guys cry too. And I ugly cry. But it's okay. You have seen me cry. You have seen me laugh. You have seen me love music. You know, some people call it going to bars. I don't go to bars to drink. Although I like to have some wine. I do. I admit it. I feel like it's the Lord's nectar. You know, it's just me. Is it good for me? I don't know. Sometimes I need to drink the wine and sometimes I don't drink the wine. You know, I fast a lot, and fasting means no wine, no alcohol, no anything but water, tea, and coffee. So if I can do that, I'm pretty sure I'm not an alcoholic. You know, alcoholics have to drink every single day. You know that, right? So just saying. Thank you, Susan. This means a lot. You are the same person behind a video and in person. You don't change depending on who you are around. That's what makes you real, and that's what makes you special. I had the extreme joy of meeting Susan because her daughter literally hired me to come to her birthday party. It was amazing. And I feel like I found a sister from another mister. And Susan's husband, oh my heart, you guys are like the best couple in the world. I love you so much. And I am so, so blessed that your daughter, named Faith, can you even with that? You know, when Faith contacted me and said, would you please come to my mom's birthday party? I'll pay you. In Houston. I'm like, of course I will. Of course I will. And you know, I'll tell you something else. If I'm a scammer, I'm a pretty bad one because I never sent Faith a bill. I don't feel right about it. I feel like Faith inviting me to her mom's birthday party was a gift that we'll keep giving for the rest of my life. To me. I got more out of going to Susan's birthday party than any of them did. Thank you, Sid. And you've known me for a very long time. No, but I do like my wine. She is a very sweet, special girl. I love her so much. And I love your family so much. So, there's that. I got so much out of that visit, and I'm coming back. Believe me, I'm coming back. So, again, let's go back to how did COVID change your life? Well, it changed mine because, like I said, I was a journalist before this, always a journalist. And I had felt compelled to become an independent journalist, doing my own shows after I quit that job for 1 year of writing news every day. It was crazy. Oh, Susan, you don't have to thank me. I thank you. I thank Faith. I love her. She's such a great person, and she is just amazing, and I can't wait to see how she turns out. By the way, Susan's daughter Faith is starting a new business, and it's all about helping people because that's who Faith is. So yeah, I don't need to bash anyone, Cindy. I don't have a jealous bone in my body, and I don't think that you get anywhere by putting other people down. So Cheryl, I am not letting any haters get to me. And I am the strongest person. And with that said, I have to tell you something. I almost forgot about this. But those of you who have been watching my show for the past 10 years and another show know that there was a woman named Kathleen. Oh, hi, Karen. Well, you are still here on the Beach Report and you're part of my family, so don't be alone. Anyway, did you know this person? Do you remember this woman named Kathleen? Hi, Gloria. Thank you very much. Thank you for your condolences. Anyway, poor Kathleen had been catfished. You know what catfish means? It's where, if you don't, I'll tell you. It's where you get sucked in online by a scammer, like a real scammer, who will do everything to take your money and take your heart. These scammers, these catfishers, they go after vulnerable women who have lost a husband or maybe aren't getting along with other people or whatever. Hi, Melanie. Good to see you, my friend. They go after very vulnerable people. And especially during COVID was a time where people became more alone than ever. I mean, they literally told us, stay 6 feet away from everyone. That's no more hugs. And I don't know about you, but I get power from hugs. It's like I download your good energy when I hug you. So this woman, Kathleen, got catfished. And when her friends noticed it, they shunned her. And they shunned her so terribly that they ruined her reputation online. They told everybody what happened. And she still even, I guess, didn't realize that she had been catfished. You know, a lot of these people, and this has happened to several of my friends, and it breaks my heart every time it happens because they truly believe that they're talking to a real person and that this real person loves them. You know, it's their heart that's involved. It's kind of a crime. Well, it is a crime because they steal their money. Well, they convince them that they love them. Hi, Linda. It's a most horrible, horrible thing to do. So poor Kathleen was already being scammed. And then people she thought were her friends went online publicly, and this person has a lot of followers, like hundreds of thousands, and dragged this woman's reputation through the mud. And I just found out that that woman didn't want to go on anymore. She was devastated. She was in her 70s. She was being scammed. I don't know if she'd stopped that. I don't know anything about it. But I now understand that maybe this is why this has happened to me. Because I'm a very strong person. And my faith is so much that when something like this happens to me, I think, what is the real reason? What is really going on here? Because people can't be calling me a scammer. That is crazy cakes. However, I now know about Kathleen. And I feel that it is time to find out, number one, where she is. Because nobody has seen her. She apparently had her page got hacked and she just kind of disappeared. So if anyone knows where Kathleen is, if you can find her, please find her. I think she needs help and I think I need to help her. There's a thing about me. If somebody puts me in your, if I get put in somebody's life, if you're in my path, there's a reason for it. I've been sent to help people my entire life since I was a little infant, given up for adoption, and God sent me to be with the Cohens and to be their first baby. And it's hard to be an adopted child. You know, you are always living under this kind of weight of strangers took you in. You need to be very grateful for that. And you know what? I am very grateful for that. I am beyond grateful for that because knowing what I know now, I actually believe that I might have been a victim of the, what's it called? Like the deep state, the thing, because you can find an updated address online. You guys need to help me. Can you guys do your work? Because I have a lot of other work to do. I mean, not that this isn't important. It is super important. Lisa, more than a year ago, there was a woman named Kathleen, I just was telling everybody, and she got catfished and her friends put it up online and shamed her and blamed her and named her until she disappeared. So, yeah, Lucy, if you can find out where she is, please do your detective work and let me know. And we're going to figure this all out. And we're going to help Kathleen. Because nobody should ever be judged so harshly that they want to end their own life. I'm kind of glad that this happened to me now. It's just like, you know, when I got attacked when I was first moved to Fort Lauderdale and I got jumped by two men. And they tried to pull me into a car. I feel like that happened to me so that I could tell you guys, you know, that it can happen. Sometimes I think these crazy things happen to me, and sometimes they happen right in front of your faces. You have seen, remember the guy that took the hat off my head? Or you didn't see that happen, but you saw the guy, he was coming after me. The only people who have ever attacked me were this people, let's say, maybe, I don't know where they were from, but their skin was very dark, and I'm not saying anything about those. I don't see color. I'm not a racist. I'm just saying, let's call them thugs, because they were thugs, and they wanted to kidnap me. So we're thugs. Thugs tried to kidnap me, not knowing anything about me or who I was. And I'm little. They probably thought I was younger than I am. Because actually my ex-boyfriend, who's an ex for a reason, said, they didn't want to kill you. You're too old. I was like, really? This is my middle finger going up to that. I'm not going to say those words because that's not my way. But anyway, she was living in Hudson, Florida, where someone helped her, you know, said, buy a home before that person turned her back on her. Yeah. Anyway, we need to find her. We need to help her. My point being, my other attacker was a Democrat, a liberal, someone who was very angry that I was wearing a Trump hat. Actually, it was my rally hat, but, you know, anyway, he knew I was a Trumpster. Oh, Sid, oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm all verklempt. Sid says, this is so exciting. I just got connected to my biological family after 55 years. Got to thank my biological mom for giving me life and having the strength to let me go to have a wonderful life. Got to get questions answered that I always wondered about. She just recently passed away, but so fortunate to have gotten to meet her and my 9 siblings all through Ancestry.com. Oh, that's amazing, Sid. You read you bought my book, Do You Think About Me on My Birthday, right? And don't forget, everybody who pre-ordered a book got one. Did it take 3 years? Yes, it took 3 years. Sorry, but that was another symptom of COVID. You know, it was right before COVID that I was reading my book to you all, and you were all like, this book is amazing. I wasn't abducted though, Cecile. They tried. They had me in their grips, and when they heard me screaming, call 911, which is a call to action. So if anybody ever does that to you, if you ever find yourself in a horrible situation and you can scream, you scream a call to action, like call 911. And that's what I did. And I do believe it saved my life. I think it scared these guys because I was, first of all, screaming very loudly. Jill can be very loud. And I hate it when people tell me to shut up. Thank you, Lisa. Bought 3 copies. I know you've always been a very staunch supporter, and I appreciate it more than you know. All of you who have been following me for the past 10 years and shorter, I appreciate you more than you know. And those of you who are new and you're on here because you heard these crazy things about me, none of it's true. So, you know, make your own decision. Get to know me. Go to JillBooks.com. So I wanted to show you JillBooks.com. That was kind of my goal of coming on today, was to show you guys who I am and who I was before COVID. COVID changed my whole life. I've always been a journalist, and I can prove it. I'll prove it to you right now. Look, I wrote this book. See, Jill Kootenai Cohen. I know it's backwards, but it does say Jill Kootenai Cohen. I wrote that book in 2015. I published it, and I just published this book, which is Do You Think About Me on My Birthday? I know it's backwards. I know. I see you, Nancy. I'll read you the back of it. Yes, I wrote it myself, and it's not a for fun book. It's a 300 and oh wait, I keep saying 360 pages. That's not true. That's not true. If I said that, I was wrong. I wasn't lying. I was wrong. You know, there's a difference between lying and making a mistake, and sometimes you don't get the numbers right. And that's okay. When you find out the truth, then you correct yourself and you say, hey, I made a mistake. In the newspaper world, it's called a retraction. Okay? That's just to get that straight right there. Jill has no reason to lie about anything. Okay? Not a liar. Don't have any time for that. I'm a writer, and everything I write is also nonfiction. I'm not into fiction. I've tried it, and you know what? Life is so crazy that nonfiction is much more interesting to me. I'm going to have a drink of coffee. There's no alcohol in that, by the way. Oh, I'm so sorry, Nancy. My husband passed 23 months ago from the vaccines. My heart goes out to you. I asked you how your life has changed after COVID. But anyway, I digress. Right before COVID, I was reading this book to you, and you all were like, Jill, you gotta send me this book. I want to buy it. And I was like, really? You really want to buy this book? And you were like, yes, please, we'll pre-order it. And I was like, really? And then everybody started sending me $35 pre-order for this book that did not yet even exist. And the guy who helped me publish this book had passed away, and I didn't have anybody to help me. And, oh, Nancy, please don't be depressed. Smile, smile. Anyway, this book, his name is Jay Spire, and he was such a dear friend. He was my editor, and and he passed away right after my book got published. So I had to do it myself. But anyway, y'all told me that you wanted to read it so badly, and I took your pre-orders. And if anybody thinks that I was just stealing money, well, I can put that rumor to rest, because this is the book. And I have made every effort to get everyone who pre-ordered this book a copy of it. If you didn't get a copy and you ordered a copy and you paid for it, just let me know. I'm pretty sure that my records were good, but there could be someone out there. And I know there's at least 4 people out there that I did get the book returned. So I still have those books and they're still wrapped up. I'm trying to remember what the names were. One had a different name. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't have it off the top of my head. But if you didn't get a book and you paid for it, I urge you to please contact me, and do not go around telling people that I'm a fraud or that I'm stealing from anyone. That's not true. And again, I can prove it. So if you also have any doubts that I am a legitimate journalist, I brought a little clipping file, and this is little because, you guys, I have written thousands of articles. I don't know about hundreds of thousands, but definitely more than 1,000. So I'm just going to go there. And not only was I a newspaper writer, but I also was a magazine journalist. I also was a TV writer as well. And I even have a promo on Nickelodeon, and I put that on my website on The Beach Report. The Beach Report on YouTube, not my website, but on YouTube. And so you can look at that too. And maybe if you watched Nickelodeon in the 90s, you might remember this promo because it ran like every flipping day. So you can see that I have been in front of the camera for a very long time. I think that was 1989, 88, 89. Hi, Jamie. Anyway, yeah, very amazing career that I've had. Melanie had an injury during COVID and couldn't work as a nurse. It was mandated. I never went back. She didn't do this either. Yeah. Thank you. Lisa says, I was following you when this happened. Your book wasn't finished, and they knew this as reserving a copy for when it was finished. You were upfront about it not being finished. You also made several videos about it being late to finish, but would make sure that they all got their copy when it was finished. And I made it happen. You guys, I was like a dog with a bone. And some people would say, you know, Jill, it's okay. It's $35. Don't worry about it. No. This book, you guys, took me 40 years to write for real. 40 years. And it only took 3 years for you guys to get it. Yes, that's right, Cindy. I certainly did. For a crazy year. And I learned so much, but holy crow. That was a hard one to work for. Yes, and I did stand in for his lives. That was where I learned to actually be a podcaster. So I have to thank him on many levels for getting me started, because he did give me the impetus to do this. And also, my followers came from him. So he wasn't so hands-on with followers. And I was like, nobody's paying attention to these people. And I did. And now a bunch of you are some of my very best friends. Hi, Donna. Don't worry, girl. I am not dwelling on anything negative. But today, I do not follow him. I just no. I got to know him on a different level than most people do. So no thanks. Anyway, I do think that what he does is important. And the people who work for him, I love them so much. They were like my sisters, so I haven't talked to them in a while. But if I would talk to them, we would right back to where we were. Cecile says, I'm so glad that God put you in my path of life, Jill. I have learned a lot from you. It has made me stronger. Thank you, friend. I'm gonna cry. Oh, you guys. Okay, anyway, so I'm here to show you some of the articles that I've written for different magazines and newspapers. Here's a magazine article. Look at that. Look, that's my picture. Look, my hair's the same flipping color. What? What? That's crazy cakes. I just realized it. Oh my gosh, Victoria, boy, you went through a lot. COVID-19 was also a wake-up call on people's hearts and beliefs. I was one of those trying to warn those about the vax. It was heartbreaking. I actually thought of going into nursing. Then this happened. All the mandates turned me off. Turned me off of it, actually. I mostly do private caregiving now because of it, and pet sitting. Right, girl? God bless those that learned later. Cindy says, you were great. I remember when you first came on in his place, you were so likable and people asked him for more and he said no. He didn't like it. He was mad. He didn't like that his followers loved me. Jill, you kept all of your followers abreast as to what was happening, and we knew that you were going through a lot. I know you did, Rosalind. There were like some really nasty people who really didn't even order my book, and they were like, we're going to sue her. And they're like, we need a class action lawsuit. So they tried to get a bunch of people to like go in on it, and there were no takers. I love you guys. You knew what I was doing. Anyway, yeah, I've written many, I've had columns through a lot of magazines in Pittsburgh. This is one of them. This is called, it was called Take Time to Reflect. I've always written like this. I was never an investigative journalist. I never wrote about politics, especially except for local politics, because I was a municipal news reporter. And then, of course, I did school districts. So I had to go to a million school district meetings, but that's what you do as a journalist. And I get pretty mad when people are like, you're not a real journalist. Oh, yeah? Well, look at this. Wait a minute, that's not me. Oh my gosh, these are things my mama sent me. Oh, Mom, these aren't my own clippings. What the actual? No, here's one that I wrote. Okay, we're all right. Here we go. Lisa says, here's what I know about Jill. She is fearless and she got me through COVID and many others too. She's been through hell and back and keeps pushing forward. She is a rock star. You are also a rock star. Okay, so for anyone who thinks that I might not be an actual newspaper reporter, I'll show you an actual newspaper article. And not just anything, but the cover of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's North section, which I was on too many times to count. Back when I was Jill Cooney Cohen, I've taken the Cooney away because that was my ex-husband's name. But there was a big flood, and I covered it like a trooper. And I was always doing stuff to, to cover my community. And if you look in here, I'll bet you will find some other articles that I wrote, because I always wrote at least 2 or 3 articles for this newspaper every single week. Yeah, this is called a professional journalist. This is what we do. Wait a minute. I remember you going to Pennsylvania school and exposing the board. That's right, Karen. That's right. All right. Well, unfortunately, you're going to call me a liar now because I don't see any other articles here. I don't know why I kept this whole dang newspaper. That's a lot. That's a lot. Here's a little one. Look at this one. These are the kinds of articles I love to write. In last weeks of life, Cranberry Cup recipient met his hockey hero. You know, Cranberry, as in Butler Township, by Jill Cooney Cohen. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, 2004. Yeah, if anyone thinks that I didn't cover the Butler area, here's some proof. There you go. There's a newspaper article. And, and by the way, this one that I just showed you, this was from also a Cranberry magazine called cranberrymagazine.com. Yep, it's all real stuff. And I never sailed on anyone's coattails but my own. A lot of people have, helped me along the way, especially my parents who definitely, whoops, sorry, I'm showing you the messy kitchen, who gave me an amazing start in life. Here's another one, Peter Township Magazine. Look at that. I still can't believe my hair is the same color as it was back in, what was this? That was my headshot for, I think this is like 2005, 2006. Anyway, Victoria, I believe you're a writer. I discovered when you were doing walks and beach reports with Muffin before you met Ray. Yes, this is good coffee, Brenda. This is Cafe Bustelo, and I found it when I first met Ray, and he gave me the Cuban coffee, and I've been a Cuban coffee girl ever since. I drink it instant. Ray made me make it for him every day, if you remember. I showed you guys how to make the Cuban coffee, and it wasn't that hard. But it involved this little machine. I don't know. This was such a good one. Oh, I'm going to read you an article here. Oh, and here's another thing about my career. I always try to help people. And this woman, I helped her so much with my article. Wait a minute. Look, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, 2004. North neighbors rally to help a Millvale woman who's sick and struggling and far from family. I helped to raise more than $100,000 for this woman. Is that Derek? Where's Derek? Oh, Derek, I miss you and I love you too. So good to see you. I am coming up north in a couple of weeks, and I might be up there for a little while because it looks like I might be dog sitting for my daughter. She has another dog, so not a new dog, but yeah. Oh, man, these articles. Real Rain Man touches hearts in Butler. Look at Butler. Wait, it's up. I know it's backwards, but anyway, Butler. It's all real, you guys. All right, I'm going to read to you this article. Let's see if it's the whole thing. All right, do you guys want me to read to you? Do you want a little story time? It's called Wake Up in Europe. And I think this was like 2005, maybe. Anyway. By Jill Keweny Cohen. Philadelphia, Derek. Comedian Stephen Wright once said, "Everywhere is within walking distance, if you have the time." This isn't exactly true. If continental Europe is your destination because there's an ocean spanning the gap between our two continents. But don't let that stop you and your family from embarking on a great adventure. In the time it takes to get a good night's sleep, you could find yourselves waking up to the dawn of a new day in a getaway city like Zurich, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, or Paris. Because of the time difference, flights to Europe depart the day before your arrival into a world that's different from anything you could ever experience in the United States. It just takes a plane ticket and the desire to expand your horizons and forever change the way your family looks at life. When in doubt, leave it out. Pack lightly when traveling overseas. You'll want to keep your suitcases roomy enough to hold all the treasures you acquire on your trip. When you return home, even basic provisions like shampoo and toothpaste will become cherished memories. Mementos. Traveling necessitate. This writing is super small, so give me some grace here. It's hard to read. Traveling necessities for parents are passports for everyone, credit cards, a few $100s worth of traveler's checks, a minimum amount of comfortable clothing, and a digital camera only or also a small camcorder, which we don't need anymore because we have phones. Instead of thinking about the things you'll need, think about the things you and your children can live without. En route, let each child carry a small backpack for toys and other goodies, keeping in mind that most overseas flights provide passengers with private viewing of kid-friendly videos, games, movies, and television. Money matters. The exchange rate fluctuates daily, but the US dollar is currently worth, no, this is a good one. This is 20 years ago. Wait. Yeah, 20 years ago. The US dollar is currently worth 25% less than the euro. For instance, if something is priced at 75 euro, you'll pay $100. Hi, Gloria. Oh my gosh, Derek has another grandbaby. Grandpa Derek, you're the best. I love it. Mazel tov. Take traveler's checks and exchange them for euros when you arrive, or for Swiss francs if you're traveling to Switzerland. They are not on the euro and never were, just so you know. Oh, Vicky, Jill, can you take down the evil school boards everywhere with reports on them? That would be nice. Vicky, it would be nice. And I don't know if you guys remember the time that I did sit in on a school board meeting in West Palm Beach. And I was shocked to find out that they were Baker acting children. That's a story that needs to be told. They were Baker acting children as young as kindergarten. Like Baker acting means putting them in a loony bin. Loony bin, is that the way to, I don't know, mental hospital, whatever, so terrible. Victoria is more of an artist, photographer at heart. You're going to your sisters with the furry friends. I love it. All right, do you guys want to hear some more about traveling to Europe? It gets better. It gets better. Here I'm just giving you some hints. And actually, if you are traveling, a lot of these tips still apply. I travel to and from Europe all the flipping time with little children and a dog. So very experienced when it comes to traveling overseas right here. I'm a traveler and always have been. But I do not wish to go overseas anymore, just saying. Anyway, let's see. Again, this is interesting. This is 20 years ago. The dollar is worth approximately 15% more than the Swiss franc. So $100 might buy you 115 Swiss francs. Switzerland still uses the term Confederation Helvetica as the official designation in some instances, which is CHF. When you see like for us, it's USD, that means dollars. When you see CHF, that means Swiss francs. You don't miss a cell phone. Wait, you don't own a cell phone, Melanie. What? Good for you. Good for you. Seriously. I know, I don't want to go overseas either, Gloria. Not doing it. Okay, when you deplane in any of the aforementioned international airports, find an airport bank as soon as possible, because that's where you'll get the best exchange rate, as opposed to money exchange vendors. It is possible to use the euro in Switzerland, but it's wise to exchange dollars and euros upon entering the country, again at the nearest bank. Hi, Bobby. I know, and throwing people to the sharks. Yes, I even have a hat with a shark on it. Let's see. To avoid carrying a lot of cash, pay hotel bills, entertainment, meals, and goods with a credit card. Exchange rates will be posted on your monthly bill. Beware of high fees, however, when using your credit card to get cash. Rely on traveler's checks instead. Transportation information. Families who plan to rent a car should place their reservation at any major car rental company in the United States and pick up the car at their final destination. Prices in Europe are based on the local buying power and can be dramatically higher if you wait until your arrival. Driving under the metric system can be confusing, but it just takes some getting used to. People still drive on the right side of the road, and traffic lights are the same colors. But did you know that you can be ticketed without ever coming face to face with a policeman? Happened to me. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. Countless countries in Europe use sensors and cameras to detect your speed, and a quick flash of light is the only indication that you've been busted before the high-priced consequences show up when you return the car. Obey the speed limit. Holy guacamole, that happened to me in Switzerland, but it recently happened to someone else I know in Maryland. So when driving in Maryland, make sure you do not speed, because they will get you, and their tickets are super, super high, so you have to be really, really careful. If you prefer public transportation, moving in and around countries is as easy as hopping aboard a train or a tram. Check out www.yourrail.com and consider purchasing a Eurail pass, which will allow you to visit 17 countries. The type of pass you buy will depend largely upon your itinerary and length of stay, but keep in mind that even if you never leave Switzerland, for instance, you can take advantage of scenic trains that chug up the sides of mountains and breeze through an amazing variety of cities. Bought on site, tickets can cost upwards of $100 per adult. Intercity travel is complemented by trams that venture to the far reaches of suburban villages. And when all else fails, use the feet you were born with to experience the lush country trails, which are far more clean and accessible than anything you could ever find in a Pittsburgh park. Europeans have been making use of them long before Columbus discovered America. Yes, absolutely, in Maryland. Be careful in Maryland. Yeah, Canada. Well, you know what? You want to go really fast? Go to Texas. Holy cow. I was driving to Ginger's house, and it was like just the dusk. It was after sunset almost. It's getting dark, and it's like 70 miles an hour. I could be wrong. Maybe it was 60, 65. I don't know. Don't hold me on that. I don't know for sure, but it was super fast. It was more than 55 miles an hour through country roads. I didn't know where I was going. Whoa, I was scared. And I never saw another car. And Ginger was like, everyone's in bed. So that was pretty funny. Anyway, interesting. King size accommodations. Wouldn't it be thrilling to stay in a German castle or a French chateau? Research your options well, because these impressive venues are everywhere, offer amenities like multiple rooms and a kitchen, and can be affordable alternatives for families. Did you ever think of staying in a castle? Because when I lived in Switzerland, there was actually a castle, like, I'm going to say across the street from me, but you know, it was kind of, you had to walk there. Yeah, but I went there all the time, and it was beautiful, and it was like a hostel. So, and I'm sorry, I have a little lisp now since I lost this tooth, and nothing's been the same in my mouth. Anyway, and as far as that Eurail pass goes, here's another hint, especially if you're traveling alone as a woman, and I don't think people can do that anymore, but that's what I used to do. Yes, you cannot pump gas in New Jersey. I know that. Yeah, you people in New Jersey, you're not trusted enough to pump gas. Sorry. It's pretty weird to have someone else pump your gas. It kind of feels like really decadent. But yeah, so if you want to go to New Jersey, let someone else pump your gas. I don't know. Does that make it more expensive? I'm not really sure. Brenda, I met my ex-husband in Amsterdam. I met him at the Hard Rock Cafe. Is that not crazy? Hello, Jane. It's so good to see you. Hello. Okay, I will keep reading. You want me to keep reading? You want to hear more about traveling to Europe? Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about the Eurail pass, get a first class. I think I said that, but I can't emphasize it enough. The difference between first class Eurail and second class is world of difference, and it is not that much more expensive, but it is tons safer, and I found that out for myself. So just saying, yeah, it's not more expensive to warrant not doing it. Like, if you're gonna go to Europe and you're gonna do your rail travel, get the first class pass. Please don't skimp on that. I have a big story about that, but I'm not gonna go there. This back in the day. Anyway. Just suffice it to say, it is so worth it. Okay, make friends with the natives. The best way to get along in a foreign environment is to adopt an attitude of acceptance and flexibility. I'm reading, Gloria. Be prepared to adapt to major and minor changes from your comfort zone, and let the natives know that you respect their rules. Let the locals you come in contact with steer you in the right direction, and you'll find that traveling in Europe is generally much safer than traveling in the United States. This is especially true the farther you venture from tourist-laden hotspots. But please note that every country is different. And the personalities of Northerners tend to be more formal and reserved than their fun-loving Southern counterparts. I think that's true in the United States as well. Put on a friendly face and don't shy away when people inevitably approach you, because most Europeans are eager to practice their English skills. I love you too, Gloria. You know that. Almost everyone speaks some English, and they love to show off their cultures and their cities. Compliment their different ways of doing things and ask for help in learning rudimentary phrases of their language. If you make it clear that you want to learn a smattering of the local dialect, your efforts will be appreciated in more ways than you can imagine. Even if you don't consider yourself much of a linguist, repeat the words they teach you as best you can, and you'll be rewarded just for trying. Hi, Holly. Well, I should be hard at work editing, but instead I'm going back in the past and reading old articles and just, I'm going to say this now because I've been on for a little while, and I said this at the very beginning, but, you know, I feel like a lot of people are coming and looking at my page right now and expecting to see this crazy lunatic. And if that's what you see, then I don't know what to say, but I am a real journalist and an author, and I've had an illustrious career, and I've been all over the world, and I even attained Swiss citizenship back in 2006, I think it was, something like that. And yeah, no, 1996, that's it. No, 1997, maybe 98. I don't know, it took a long time. But I had to go in front of a panel of Swiss people and actually, you know, show them that I could speak the language and that I was, you know, part of my society. That's how you immigrate to Switzerland. You have to prove to them that you can assimilate. And I think that's fantastic. And, you know, Switzerland's such a little country that if they just let all those foreigners in who couldn't speak Schweizerdeutsch, which I can speak Schweizerdeutsch because I really made the effort to learn it. I can't speak it real well, but here, I will teach you all the words. So if you ever go to Switzerland and you want to say hello, and this is one of the hardest words I ever learned, so I don't blame you if you have problems repeating it, but if you want to go to Switzerland and say hello to people, you say, Grüezi. I know it just rolls off my tongue now, but it is Grüezi. Little can you do that? You know what, Victoria? Switzerland was the hardest thing I ever did. I feel like I grew up in Switzerland because I had my babies there, and I was a new wife there, and I'd never been a wife, and I'd never been a mother. And becoming a mother is an experience, and you learn so much. But becoming a mother in a country that you didn't grow up in is really difficult. You have to learn every single thing, like just the language alone, not knowing German. And it's funny because Switzerland has 4 official languages, and not one of them is English. That was tough. That was hard to go from being the girl who knew the language better than everybody to be talking like a baby. I mean, saying things like, me want cake or something like that. You know, like, seriously, just pathetic. All right, I'm going to keep reading a little bit so I get through this because it's fun. It's fun to read it to you. And it's interesting to see what it was like 10 years ago. This is very interesting. Current attitudes towards Americans. Again, this was 10 years ago. Laura, well, Princess Laura, she's my Grimaldi. It's a sad but true fact that anti-American sentiment has risen in the wake of the Iraqi war. Wow, we're going in history here. And Americans are not as welcome overseas as they were in the past. You'll likely be dragged into discussions about American politics, but it's best to avoid such explosive topics as much as possible. This is still really good advice. So if you love President Bush and think that our troops fighting in the Middle East is a worthwhile cause, you might want to keep those opinions to yourself. Remember, every time an American sets foot out of this country, he or she acts as a goodwill ambassador to the United States. Let the natives see your family as individuals who want to rise above the acts of a nation, and they'll respect your request to keep conversations neutral. They do like to get into it with you in Europe, and I can only imagine that since President Trump, they're either going to love you or they're going to hate you. I know how that feels. Vive la différence. Everything in Europe, from flushing toilets to opening and closing doors, is different from what you're used to in the States. Stay alert and interested in the unfamiliar surroundings and treat it as an incredible learning experience for the entire family. And then it says, as a dual citizen of the United States and Switzerland, writer Jill Cohen has lived and traveled abroad for the past 16 years. Now it was 26. She currently resides in Pittsburgh with her 2 young children and Swiss husband. And then people were encouraged to contact me with travel questions, which they did all the time. I loved being a travel writer. It was the joy of my life. And now I'm like the queen of travel, but not writing so much as the Beach Report is all about traveling and going to different beaches, but so many other things too. I don't know. This lady was like, well, what's the Beach Report about? And I'm like, it's about whatever I want it to be about. I have so many interests that I'm a little bit overwhelmed at times, like trying to pick one. I can't pick one. I mean, I'm always doing something different. Anyway, this was about how his life changed since COVID. And as you know, almost exactly September 30th, 3 years ago, but I feel like it was a little bit longer than that I lost my husband. Cindy, I don't speak much French. I speak a little bit of French, but I understand French pretty well. So if you speak to me in French, I'll understand it, but if I answer you, it's going to come out in German. I don't know why. It's like a speech impediment that I have, and it's so annoying to me because even with the Spanish, and Ray spoke Spanish, and I took Spanish in high school, and I actually had a dream when I first moved to Switzerland that I was in Spanish class. You know, you have those dreams where you're in high school and something crazy happens, like you're naked or whatever, but I dreamed that I was in Spanish class, and I was freaking out. I shouldn't be here. I need to go to German class. I need to learn German. Why am I here? Spanish class is ruining me. It's crazy. And then after several years in Switzerland, I actually started to dream in German. Well, Swiss German. Swiss German is a dialect. In German, of course, they call it Hochdeutsch, High German. So it's a little bit easier to learn because Swiss German is not even a written language. And it's different in every single village. So you can, ask for a bag for your groceries in Leiningen. And then you walk over to Biel and they don't call it a bag. Like they might call it for instance, where I lived, and I can't even remember all these names anymore, but I do remember asking, darf ich habe ein Gucke? That means, may I have a bag? And they were like, a Gucke. And they're like, acting like they don't know what it means. And then I find out that there they call it a sock. Okay, so I should have said, darf ich habe ein Sock? But they knew what a Gucke was. It was just like, Arr! Anyway. They like to razz you when you live there. It's one thing if you're a tourist, they're very, very nice. So don't be afraid. But if you infiltrate a Swiss family, that's difficult. They made it really hard on me. They really did. But I survived. That's the thing about me. You can come at me with your knives and daggers, and you know what? I'll just... I don't care. I don't care because I know who I am and God knows who I am. And that is really all I care about. However, in my own right, I am a very experienced journalist, writer, and now I've been doing the Beach Report for 10 years. And I am finally going to take you over to JillBooks.com so you can see how it all began. Check this out. All right, so these are different shows that I did, and this is the very first one. Who wants to go for a walk? And I'm not even going to show it to you because even though that looks really beautiful, and that was Cannon Beach, Oregon, the video itself is pretty crappy. So crappy, in fact, that I had to go over here and say I'm going to try this one more time. So it took a while. Switzerland and Sweden are two different countries, Victoria. They're very different. And I've never been to Sweden. All right, so then you can see I was in Cannon Beach. My best friend from high school lives there, and I loved it. They have an annual sandcastle competition. And I went to San Diego. Wait, it's going to show us a video. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm live in Old Town, San Diego.
Listen how young I sound.
Is charming.
Look how bad the video
Take
is.
a little walk down the street.
This is before I discovered the gimbal.
Look at this hill. Kind of hard to see if the sun is up in the morning.
Yeah, you always have to learn the language.
This is just one of the most beautiful little towns.
All right, anyway, I'm sure that's making you kind of sick, so let's go up a little bit more.
Is there anything in particular anybody wants?
So this was me on, this is all West Coast. Here it looks like I covered a harvest festival in Sewickley, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, so the reason that I first came onto Facebook was because of this book, Like It Was Yesterday. That's how many of you came to meet me, because I wanted to put my book out there in the world. My brother was a survivor of 9/11, and it affected me so much. And I used to live in New York City, and it just a lot of you understand 9/11 really affected your lives. It's still affecting our lives. So I've done a lot of stories on 9/11. Here's the memorial. They're in Cranberry Township. Of course, this is all Butler. This is stuff. Oh man, North Star Kids. My daughter almost was a North Star kid.
With the North Star Kids from North Hills, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Look at them. They're all grown-ups now. But that's a little chapel right outside of Shanksville. Shanksville, the Flight 93 Memorial, I was very, very drawn to it from the first time that I heard what happened, that a plane had crashed there. And so because it was practically in my backyard, just an hour away, I was drawn to there immediately. And then I've covered many, many stories. This is all me with my videos, but also this was for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I was covering it for everything. Hey, Michelle. Well, we're living here in Allentown. Hi, Joyce. And they're taking all the factories down. Oh, wait, this is funny. So I made a t-shirt with this. Look at that. Can you even? I just walked onto the beach and that's what I saw. Is that not the funniest kite ever? All right, see you later, Cecile. I know, I can't stay on too much longer because this is a lot, but The Sound of Music is actually, I believe, Austria. And here's a really funny fact for you, Victoria. They never heard of it in Switzerland. It was like, you didn't hear of The Sound of Music? And they said, no. I was like, what? And no, I've never been to Sweden. Oh, here's a good one. When all else fails, let common sense prevail. This was at a park. I love that. That's pretty good. I wish people would follow that one nowadays. Okay, here's where we start talking about hurricanes in Florida. I've been through several hurricanes in Florida and survived them all, luckily. But the last one that I really, I went through a few since Hurricane Ian. But Hurricane Ian, which Ray died the day after. Now, you want to talk about life-changing. it really changed my life. And like I said before that, I was living in a mansion with one of my best friends and paying rent, by the way, paying rent. And I was never this butterfly that I am now. I always had a nice home. And then Sue sold her house, and then I moved in with my dear friend Candace into an apartment, and that didn't work out so well, and it was a problem with money and not me. I don't want to tell tales, and I love Candace very dearly. But people who might think that Candace owned that apartment, that's not true. Actually, I helped her get into it. I helped her in a lot of ways. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But always had a beautiful home until I moved to the farm with Ray. And then my beautiful home turned into a ramshackle farmhouse. But it was a ramshackle farmhouse that was full of love. But you can see, as a travel writer, I would cover different culinary events, and always on the beach, of course. Look, 6 years ago, I went on a cruise. I actually went with a dear friend who was also kind of a follower, but she was like an online friend, and it was the first time we met, and we had the greatest time, but we also had the worst time. But we're still friends, so it worked out okay. If you recall as well, I then started to do writing classes for people in Fort Lauderdale. My friend Candace, I called it Classes with Glasses, because the glasses being glasses of wine. I never dreamed that I would end up actually making glasses and painting them, which many of you bought, and I thank you so much for that. It was a lot of good artwork. My writing class tonight is comprised of a group of autism spectrum disorder people. So you see, I've always done my journalism. Oh, look, that's one we don't need to watch. Just saying, there's a few of those, but now they're all for nothing, I guess. Anyway, I covered a lot of politics, and I've been everywhere. I've done everything. Honor Flight. If you know a veteran, you should check out Honor Flight. That's really great. Oh, my dear friend Candace. Candace is so great, and she is like, I think she just turned 80, and she looks like she's 50. She's amazing. Oh, here's a good one. When I used to work at Nickelodeon, do you guys remember the magazine Mad? Mad? Yeah, Mad. It was called Mad. Mad Magazine. Well, Dick DeBartolo was one of the creators, was the creator of Mad Magazine. And he is a good friend of mine. I met him when I worked at Nickelodeon. Here, let's see that. This is a good interview.
Hey, you guys. Here I am in New York City at my reunion for a show I used to work on for Nickelodeon called Total Panic. And I am so excited and lucky to be with Dick DeBartolo. He used to work on the show that I used to work on called Don't Just Sit There.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would show gadgets.
That's right.
Fun gadgets with the kids, and we had a great time on that show.
So when I first met you, Dick, before that, you were a writer for Mad Magazine. You've been doing that for most of your career, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been with Mad. I billed as Mad's Madest writer because I have somehow managed to write something for every issue for 51 years. And that continues today. Even though Mad left New York City, the new publisher said, well, you've been writing that long. Why don't you just keep writing? So that's what I'm doing.
You guys, that is so amazing. And as a writer, I totally respect that. 51 years of working with
How do you like my
magazine.
crazy makeup
That
there,
was
huh?
amazing.
My friend Abby got a hold of my face.
When you were on Don't Just Sit There, then you also got your own show right after that. Tell us about that.
Well, it was actually part of another show that I was on called You Want It, You Got It. And the show was Total Panic. And Total Panic was a Nickelodeon show in the 80s, right?
Right, and that's why we're here. Actually, it was like 1988, 1989,
Okay.
and maybe I think it ended in 90. Right?
Oh, okay. I probably ended it.
I'm not really sure.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Don't look on Wikipedia because it's probably not. They don't even know.
Yeah, no one knows.
No. But basically, the show was kind of a goof on game shows, and I had a tuxedo that lit up, and I had a big wig with a stripe through it.
That's right.
And the object was we would bring out like a cream pie and then say, should I
You and me, Victoria.
throw this at someone in the audience?
You and me.
Should I throw it at the camera, or should I have the announcer sit on it? And then the kids would vote on what he should do, and then I would do it. So it was great fun.
So I didn't work on Total Panic because I was a don't just sit there girl. But Total Panic was filmed in the same video in the same studio. So
Do you remember what the studio was?
yes, so the studio is on 55th and 9th.
Oh,
Remember
right,
that?
yes.
It was the old Jim Henson studio. Remember that?
Yes, I do now.
Do you remember the day Jim Henson died?
No.
Well, we were in the studio that day filming Total. Don't just sit there, and we were like on a death watch, and Jim Henson died, and everybody from Sesame Street came by that studio that day because they were so upset about Jim Henson's death. Remember, there were pictures of Big Bird all
Yes, on
over.
the wall. Yeah, exactly. That I do remember.
Exactly. Remember the green room? It was all like about Sesame Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually had some food in the green room from time to time.
We had really good food in the
Always
green room.
had food in the
I think
green
I
room.
bought it most of the time.
I did.
Was a PA.
I was a PA.
Yeah.
Probably did.
Yeah. So, what are we doing here today? We're here for Total Panic.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
It's 30 years. I can hardly believe that.
30 years? Wow.
Yeah, I know.
And you still look awesome.
Well, my God, go back to this picture. Look at this woman.
I was a teenager then. I was like 24 years old.
Oh, okay. And
But I get it
she's
back.
only 34 now.
Oh, right.
She's very good, but she's very bad in math. Like, very good producer, but very bad.
I was never good in math. Never good in math. But I did grow up with Mad Magazine, and I have like all the respect for you for like going that. That's amazing.
Well, it's amazing. I wasn't there when Mad started, but it's started in '52, and so now it's in 60 some odd years old. So it's kind of amazing. And like the first 40 years without ads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Now they take ads.
And now there's Nickelodeon has certainly changed since we worked at Nickelodeon, right?
Except I saw Mark Summers is still back there, right?
Oh, Mark Summers.
Yes, I believe they're still doing something with slime. I think it just started like 6 months ago.
See you, Gloria.
Slime is disgusting.
Slime has had a very long life.
Yeah.
Every year I go to Toy Fair, there's a new use for slime. There's slime with speckles.
Yeah, sparkly slime.
Yes. The slime lab.
Soul Sister Victoria.
The slime that you can make into a green screen. Someone always comes up with a new use.
Well, technology has really been jump-started since we worked in television 30 years ago.
We used to hand crank the video cameras. It was really
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't remember that. Well, what are you working on now, Dick?
Well, I do a podcast called The Gizwiz Show, and that's still about gadgets. And then I'm on, once a month I do what's called the long segment on World News Now, which is the overnight network news, which they bill as the news where most insomniacs, the program where most insomniacs get their news, because it's on 2:30 to 4 in the morning.
Wow, I didn't know about that. That's
Yeah.
so cool. How do people find that?
Just go to abcnews.com
Okay.
and click on World News Now.
Okay.
So I do a segment there. It's great fun because they have a great sense of humor over there.
I love that you're still working and you're still doing your thing after all these years. So am I.
Yeah, no. Well, you know, what else is there? Retire to what?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, working is fun.
It is. Working is fun, especially in this industry, right? I mean, we have a good time.
Absolutely. And also, when you're not a star, you don't have to worry about
Good point.
if this particular thing was a bomb. They're not going to say, well, we lost $1 million because if I do something that's a bomb, they lose 10 cents.
No.
They're not upset.
Yeah, I think you're more important than that, Dick.
20, a quarter. They could lose as much as $1.
Dick DiBartolo, you guys.
No, now she thinks it's too much.
He's a legend.
It's
She
definitely
said
too
50 cents was better.
No, Dick DiBartolo, you're awesome. I'm
thank
so
you.
glad that you came on my show today.
Oh, this is great.
Thank you so
also,
much.
Isn't technology amazing that you
It
could do
is.
a show
Yes.
like this?
Yes, it is.
I just think it's wonderful that as
Yeah.
long as you have a phone and a mic, you're a broadcaster.
Exactly. And I think it's the best. This is real. This is no fake news here. Dick DiBartolo ought to know what fake news looks like. He's like, what me worry kid, you know?
Yeah, to what me worry. Yeah, I don't worry.
No.
And don't you worry either.
Yeah, nothing to worry about here.
No.
Okay.
Hey guys, good seeing you.
Thank you so much for giving us a great interview. It was so much fun. All right, you guys. Well, you heard it here.
Dick DiBartolo, Man's Maddest Writer, and the Gizwiz.
Woohoo! Thank you, Dick. All right, you guys. Well, I'm not going to cost all these other people. Dick was the only one that I thought was really the best interview I could get tonight. So, but we've got a bunch of people back here. We've got some Emmy winners. We've got some really cool people you used to work on Total Panic, Don't Just Sit There, Make the Grade, all those Nickelodeon shows you probably forgot.
That guy right
about.
behind me
So
is
I'm gonna say
one of my best
goodnight
friends,
from
Jeff.
New York City, signing out. Take care.
Yeah. So I am an actual former television writer, newspaper reporter, magazine writer, all this stuff. Let me see. I don't know where's my interview with Roger Stone. That was a good one. Anyway, here we'll look for some more cool things. Oh, the Trump rallies. Oh my gosh. This is Trump's first rally right after he said he was going to run for president. And Trish and I went to this the second time, his second run for president. And that's where I met Trish and love her so much. She is my sister. You guys have seen her many times. Oh, and this is a dear friend, and he has since passed away, JJ Flash. His name is really John. But anyway, sweetheart. This guy, Peter Tickton, he used to go to school with President Trump. Let me know if you want to hear any of these interviews. It's like a lot of stuff. I was on the Trump train. Oh, you guys have done a lot over the years. I've been everywhere. Anybody who looks at JillBooks.com will see and learn a lot. This is interesting. I did a beach report with Josie, life coach, intuitive numerologist. She was wonderful. I've covered Myrtle Beach. It's all over the country. Yes, thank you. I am a live scene interviewer. You want to hear another interview? Let's see. Oh, rock you like a hurricane. That's the other thing I love to do is go to shows with music and have everybody see people dancing and having a good time. Okay, here's a fun one. Do you remember Storage Wars? Well, this is Big Steve from Storage Wars.
Wait for our audience.
How you doing?
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
So, would you believe that there's a hurricane going on here in Fort Lauderdale? I've got Big Steve Valenti over here, and he used to be one of the stars of Storage Wars, and he owns this amazing restaurant where he sells pizza, right?
Yes. Pizza, beautiful Italian food.
So, what made you decide to give up Storage Wars for pizza?
It's just a passion. When you love to eat, you have to have the best. So if you want the best, you make it yourself.
Understood.
I feel the same. See you later,
And you do
Lorena.
have the best pizza,
Thank you.
actually. Yeah, I've eaten here a few times. You just opened up recently, right?
Yeah, we're open for about a week and a half now.
And
we're
I
just
was there a
getting
few
back
times
and
already.
opening up for
Shows
the
you how
season,
much I
and
loved
it's
it.
gonna be terrific out here.
It is.
They're still open, by the way.
Starts when, in October?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now we are in the middle of Hurricane Dorian, and I do mean in the middle of Hurricane Dorian, right? It's
Yeah.
out there, right?
Sure is. So we're gonna have a hurricane party tonight.
We are so like got my glass of vino. Steve's got a glass of vino. We have a lot of people over here. They don't want to be on the show, so they're like hiding in the background. But you know how that works.
We have Deborah, our great bartender
Yeah,
here.
we got our great bartender, Deborah. Say, guys, if you're in the Lauderdale by the sea area, come out and see Big Steve at Cafe Valente. You know, he's our local famous guy from Storage Wars.
Storage Wars, New York.
Storage Wars, New York. And, and so what do you miss about being on TV as opposed to owning a restaurant, Steve?
The surprise. When I put the ingredients in the pot, I know it's going to come out right. But when you buy a storage locker, you never know what's inside.
Good point. There we go. Yeah. So,
Pretty good. A lot of fun.
yeah, it is. Is it fun to be the owner of a restaurant?
Oh, I love it. This is my home. When you come to our place, you come make yourself at home, just like I do. That's what we ask you to do. Sit back, relax, and make yourself at home.
Love it.
Commercial Boulevard, about 900 feet from the beach. And it's a beautiful spot, beautiful patio. Bring a cigar if you like. Whatever makes you happy, makes us happy. Come on down. Enjoy.
And he is not joking because this place is really beautiful. And even though there is a hurricane raging right out on the coast, right?
Yeah.
But did we feel it?
Not even a little
I
bit.
don't feel it. He's moving my camera around. Look at this.
We got a picture of the front of the store.
Oh, right. No, look, Joe, seriously. Joe, look at it. Look, the Cafe Valente.
At the big clock, as you come over into Coastal,
the big clock,
it's the first traffic light on the right-hand side.
right?
Giant clock, Lauderdale by the sea.
Can you guys see that? Lauderdale by the sea. Yeah, pretty good, right?
Thank you, guys. Be safe, everybody, in the storm. Hope everybody stays well. And if you're doing great and you want to come on by, we're open. Have something nice to eat.
So, Big Steve, how long have you been in Fort Lauderdale?
A couple of years.
So, is this one of your first big hurricanes?
No,
No.
man.
You've been through some hurricanes?
A couple.
Did you get through Sandy?
Oh, beautiful. Watched it face to face, 40 feet away from the open bay.
Oh my God.
Beautiful spot.
Wow.
Yeah, great day.
So, okay, so what do you like about being down here as opposed to being up in New York?
No heavy clothes.
Right?
Everything is beautiful. The beautiful people, the beautiful
Yeah.
places to go.
Living in South Florida is awesome,
Great place
isn't
to
it? Yeah.
Say hi to Debs. Debs wants to tell you about this unbelievable thing
Deb,
she's going to do with
Where's
martinis.
Deb? Tell us about tell us about your plans for Cafe Valente.
Well, we're gonna do yoga and martinis by the sea in about a month outside. Come in, we're gonna do an hour yoga class, and then you get a martini at the end.
Well, that sounds
How
fun.
is that, you guys?
Fantastic.
And I'm also talking to Steve about doing my classes with glasses here as well. So we could have some writing classes going on here as
Yeah,
well.
COVID put an end to that.
Love to articulate myself a little better. I'll tell you
Yeah.
like it is.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man.
So we're in the middle of Hurricane Dorian. Are you afraid?
We're going to have so many people here that we're going to run out of meatballs and pizza. Oh, that's going to be it. It's going to be
You're
beautiful.
funny.
Oh,
Can't wait.
you had me at meatballs. Do you make meatballs?
We make the best meatballs. In fact, we use a local butcher here who is the best butcher. You walk back into time when you walk in his store, and he has the most beautiful stuff in there. And we use all
This
of their
guy's awesome.
products for our meatballs and our sausages.
So,
Smitty's Butcher, he's number one. If you ever need meat and you're in Fort Lauderdale, you definitely want to check out Smitty's. He's an icon and a landmark.
so Steve, it sounds like, are you Italian?
I am. I am.
Where-
Only
so-
on my mother and father's side, though.
Where did you learn to cook?
On my grandmother's kitchen.
Oh, love
I
that. What did you call her, Nonna?
No, that was
No,
grandma.
that was
And
Grandma.
I was the only one allowed in her kitchen. It was unbelievable.
So she taught you everything she knows?
Yeah.
And where does she come from?
I want pizza right now.
Calabria?
Yes.
Right? How did I know
That was
this?
a good guess.
Yeah.
And her father's from Bari. Yeah.
Very
Fantastic.
nice. Very nice. Because I know that some of the
Me
best
too,
foods come from
Victoria.
Calabria, right?
Yes, they
right?
do.
I'm just
Yes,
saying.
they do. It's a passion.
I know it is.
I want
Passion.
meatballs.
That's all it is. Time and passion. You do it right, you take your time, you make something beautiful and delicious.
So agree. So agree. Yeah, well, there
Just
we go.
like love.
So, okay, so you guys, I'm going to enjoy my wine, and I think that Big Steve here's got some goodies like in store for us tonight.
Gina's
And,
hungry.
we're having a hurricane party, so
perfect.
nobody is suffering here in Fort Lauderdale. We've got like beautiful weather. I'm not even joking. It is. Am I right? Is it warm?
Perfect.
Is it gorgeous out?
Oh, it's
We were sitting inside earlier, and Big Steve's like, "No, let's go outside because it is a really beautiful night out here."
Nice patio.
Just saying, yeah,
I'm gonna enjoy it.
yeah. Nobody's afraid in Hurricane Dorian in Fort Lauderdale. Although I do, let's say prayers for everyone in the Bahamas.
Amen. Anybody who is storm affected,
Yeah,
our loving hearts are
yeah.
for you, baby. We're so
Yeah,
sorry. Good
we
luck.
are. We're praying for everybody. We are super grateful that this storm has bypassed us so far. We're hoping for it
I
to
want
continue
pizza.
to bypass us.
Amen.
But as it is right now, look, they're writing down Cafe Valente. You guys, yeah, come on by
Valenti Restaurant, Valenti Italian
and tell
Restaurant
them
and Bar.
Jill sent you, and Big Steve will take really good care of you.
Always.
Okay.
Come be part of our family. See you soon.
Absolutely.
Ciao.
So, ciao, guys. We're gonna take off for now.
Ciao,
I
Bella.
will
Ciao, Bella.
That was
I'll
my
be
first
back in
chow
the
for
morning.
now.
give you my. I'll give you my beach report in the morning, and we'll see what the hurricane does for us tomorrow. Till then, everything's great. Like I said, everyone in Fort Lauderdale is partying. Super excited that this hurricane is not really.
That's
hitting
Jill
us. I mean,
Cantori for
I
you
gotta
right
say,
there.
It is gorgeous. Is it gorgeous?
Mwah, beautiful.
Love you guys. Have a wonderful
Ciao,
evening.
Bella.
Say goodbye.
Ciao, Bella, indeed. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god,
Wait
you
for
guys
our
are
audience.
Sorry, it comes back on when I kill it. I don't know why.
Hey, everybody.
Anyway, wait, I wanted to. All right, well, this show's getting really long. I could do this all day. Oh my God, the memories. So much. And Hurricane Dorian was like, that was like right around the time that I had just met Ray. So, wow. Wait, I wanted to find you the COVID. The COVID one. Man, I covered COVID like nobody's business. Ciao, Bella. Oh my gosh, veterans luncheons. And Billy Hoblick. So my dear friend Billy Hoblick is, I haven't heard that he's passed yet, but he is in hospice and he had cancer. So prayers for Billy Hoblick. Let's watch his show just quickly in honor of Billy. Oh, this is a meet and greet I did at a restaurant. And is Billy even in this? Where is he?
38070.
Oh, this is Billy's artwork.
Well, I'm okay at the moment, but if I have to come back on, I'll do it. Can everyone hear me all right? You guys, check this out. So this artwork is all done with wine labels. A little reggae time. Look at the very intricate details. All wine labels.
Cool that is.
Did you ever see anything like it before? And all recognized months ago, we saw Billy actually making this exact picture collage at the Point in Point State Park in Pittsburgh.
Okay, well, that's the end of that. Let's try to find a... I wanted to find a COVID one. Let's see. Mercy Lorenzo talks about how communism sucks. Oh, we've got, so here's the other thing that I do with my journalism media capabilities. Someone asked if I ever wanted to be a television anchor or anything, and I say, no way. Guys, you know what? I never wanted to be on camera. No way, no how, not this girl. Because, my whole life, yeah, Rosalind, seriously, my whole life I have been told how pretty I am. It's just a fact. And I'm not like, whatever. Anyway, this is something I always heard. Jill's so pretty, Jill's so pretty. And I always felt like, no, I'm not just pretty, I'm smart. And I hated being labeled as just another pretty girl. So I hid myself. And people used to even say I looked like I was homeless, talking about the homeless thing, but I had very long hair. I'd like hide my face. I didn't want anyone to see me because I didn't want anyone to judge me on the way that I looked. Because if you looked at me when I was much younger, you would be like, she's just another pretty face. And I hated that. So that was why I became a journalist. I always wanted to be behind the scenes. And that's why when I worked on television, on Nickelodeon, actually, well, I didn't work with Dick DeBartolo, but, he was a friend. Anyway, and wasn't his interview amazing? Like, how many, have you ever heard from the guy who wrote I thought he invented it, but he didn't. That was wrong. I made a mistake. Mad Magazine. 60 years. And Dick, what did he say? He wrote for 50 of them. That's incredible. He is such an icon and such an inspiration to me. And seeing that interview with him, how much fun was Dick DeBartolo? And I got to say something else about that. So when I was moving to Switzerland and I was getting married to a Swiss guy, and all of my friends in New York City, when I was working there, they did this big party. You saw that I pointed out that guy, Jeff, that was behind Dick, one of my best friends. Anyway, he actually organized this party, and he told me that the party was for Dick DeBartolo because it was something like his 25th or 50th anniversary or 30th anniversary, something like that. I don't remember, but I was told that I was going to attend a party for Dick DeBartolo, and it was like, oh, cool, great party for Dick. The party was for me. And it was my farewell to New York City when I moved to Switzerland. And they bought the Swiss Miss Coco, Instant Coco, and they refigured it and it said Swiss Misses. It was hilarious. Anyway, they were such great people to work with. I loved working in television and working with television crew. You don't ever see those people. They're all behind the scenes, but they are solid. How did I meet a Swiss guy? So Victoria, that's an interesting story. I was living in New Jersey. I was writing for wait a minute. No, sorry. I was living in New York City and I was writing for Nickelodeon at the time. And then I had the most devastating news when the show Don't Just Sit There got canceled. And I was beside myself. It was like the most horrible thing that ever happened to me in my young 24-year-old life. So at the time, I decided to get away. My parents had always promised me and my brother and sister that they would pay for a trip for us to go overseas. Actually, it was to go to Israel. No, my sister didn't want to go to Israel, and she went to England. My brother didn't want to go to Israel either, and he went to Russia. Oh my gosh, I'll never forget him coming home from Russia. He kissed the ground, and he was flipping out. He was all like, KGB was watching me. It was crazy. Anyway, I never went anywhere. I never took my dad up on that trip. And then Don't Just Sit There took a hiatus, and I wasn't sure if they'd be picked back up again, but I thought, this is my big chance to go overseas myself. And so I asked my dad if he would, give me the trip. All I needed was the plane fare and the Euro pass. And that was all I asked for, and that was all I got. But you know what? It was everything. And I took my own money that I had saved up and I went to Europe. And while I was in Europe, I met up with this girl named Anne Marie. And she was one of my brother's friends, but we really hit it off, and she was a captain in the army. So I stayed with her in Frankfurt, and she spoke fluent German. So she was a great tour guide. And then from being with Anne Marie, I was like, what am I going to do next? I really didn't know. Well, Anne Marie and I had gone to Amsterdam at one point. And while we were in Amsterdam, I met a really cute guy. And it was in the Hard Rock Cafe. And when I met him, he was like, oh, I want to meet you later in this bar. And no, this girl does not meet strange men in bars. And I had no intention of doing that. But I was like, yeah, sure, I'll meet you at the bar. I would say all sorts of things. Men were always trying to get with me. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, see you later. Bye. Anyway, he had given me his business card. And there was something about him that I just, he was really handsome. And, you know, me being in my 24-year-old boy crazy phase, I really liked him. And I decided to go to Switzerland and look him up because I stood him up in that bar that he thought he was going to meet me at. So I thought, I'll just go to Switzerland. And I did, all by myself. I got on a train. And so when he asked me, what are you doing after Amsterdam? I would always make up all sorts of like ideas of things I wanted to do. It didn't mean I was going to do them, but you know, I was traveling around Europe and I could do whatever I wanted. So I told him that I wanted to go to Rome, and he was like, Rome? And he's like, Rome is on the way, no, Switzerland is on the way to Rome. And I was like, that's a great pickup line. I live on the way to Rome. I'm like, okay then. Well, I got on one of those trains and it was actually called the Colosseum and it was going to Rome. But I got off in Basel, Switzerland, and that changed my life forever. And I found he had a clothing store, and I found his clothing store, and I just walked in and he was like blown away when he saw me. And he said that he had tried to contact MTV Networks, which is Nickelodeon was owned by MTV Networks at the time. I don't know if they still are, but anyway, he said he tried to contact MTV Networks. I might have been wearing my MTV jacket that I had, and I still have it. And I don't know. Anyway, he was like, couldn't believe that I was standing in front of him because he really took it seriously and really wanted to see me again. And he had been thinking up all the certain ways that he could find me. And here I found him. So anyway, yeah, that's called 7 Years in Switzerland. And that's a story that I'm working on right now for my sequel to Do You Think About Me on My Birthday. So always working on so many projects, this girl. It's funny. People think I don't work. Do you think that someone who doesn't work could put out 2 books? Putting out 1 book's really hard. But when you put out 2 books, you know that you're an author. And now, yes, the early MTV. It's not the early MTV, though, Victoria. It's not all want my MTV, but it's close. Actually, a relative of mine was the CEO of MTV at the time. And yes, I admit I got my job through nepotism. But it's funny because when I got the job at Nickelodeon, I found out that the job that I got had been in the newspaper for several weeks and not one person answered it. Just saying. It was meant to be. It was one of the best jobs I ever had, and I loved being a PA, not a physician assistant, a production assistant. And I went on to be a production assistant for a couple different companies. One was National Television. Do you guys remember National Television from the movie Tootsie? I used to go into that studio for work every day and walk into the green room and all the places that you saw in the movie Tootsie. Michelle just got divorced from a narcissist for 39 years. I'd rather be alone, free, and happy than a single wife, feeling unloved and be with an abuser. Michelle, I'm so proud of you. I did the same. And it's not easy. And I was talking about this the other day. A friend of mine has just left her abuser. Actually, she got kicked out by her abuser. And, you know, the days after you leave an abusive relationship, for a woman, the immediate weeks and months after that are the most dangerous. So please try to keep your head on a swivel and stay safe, and don't let him terrorize you, because that's what they do. When you finally leave them, they will terrorize you. I know, Victoria, I'm such an 80s girl. I want to live in the 80s. You went to high school in Jupiter, Florida. Do you know Donna Wade Nightingale? I don't know. It seems like you think you might have that in common. Anyway. No, wait, Donna, did you go to high school in Jupiter? Not sure. Anyhow, I'm getting all talked out, but wait. Oh, here's one. It's usually fear that kills your dreams, not failure. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good show that I did. I've done a lot of shows on a lot of different things. Oh my gosh. It is amazing. I've had such a long and illustrious career, and I'm going to be 60 years old. But you know what? The best is yet to come. And I have mentioned this before, but I got to get back to work, because I am also becoming a publisher of other people's books. So if you have a great book and you want help publishing it, give me a little time, because I am already embroiled with 4 different books. Yes, The Girl Who Doesn't Work is working on 4 different books right now. And The Girl Who Doesn't Work publishes her own books all by herself. That's how we do it. Anyway, how has my life changed since COVID? Well, I published my second book all by myself after my husband died, and in the midst of my little dog getting older and till she failed. I have also been working on myself professionally, and I do intend to be a best-selling author. I don't know what's going to happen with my career, but I know it's going to be super exciting, because I have so many plans, and I'm so thrilled to share them all with you. Let's see. Patricia says, my sister moved from California to Texas recently. She just came down with COVID again, and her grandchildren have as well. Maybe she just needs her immunization. That's what I gotta say. I got COVID the second time last year, like a year ago, and it was like a really bad flu. But you know what? Immunized naturally once again. Just saying. So I'm good. I haven't been sick since. So don't take it as a bad thing. Yeah. Turning 60. It's hard. But you know what? Seriously, you guys, the best is yet to come. I feel like I have more wisdom, more experience, more life experience than like ever before. So I'm really excited about the future and all of the great projects that I have. And I don't really care what anybody says about me, because I know who I am and you know who I am. But most importantly, God knows who I am. So don't worry, you guys. I don't let anything get me down. I will just forge ahead, and any kind of negative experience that I have or that you have, you know, turn it into a learning experience. Thank you, Pam. I appreciate it. Karen, 63. You know what, Karen, you passed the 62 magic age. I can't wait to be 62, because that's when you start getting benefits for being old. So, oh, Michelle, I'm sorry you're still suffering. But I think it's better that you had it than you know. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, guys, for your kindness and your love, but most of all, for following the Beach Report for the past 10 years and for helping me in my endeavor to become a best-selling author. That is my goal. And it's not a scam, and it's not a trick, and it's not a con. I'm an actual writer, and I have so much experience behind me, and I want to share it with all of you. Because my life, I can't keep it to myself. It's been so exciting, and I've done so many things. And as a writer, I'm good at sharing things. So, and letting you know also that you can live a life like mine as well. You don't have to be put into a box. You have capabilities so much greater than you even know. You just have to have the will to do it. Because like I wrote here, where is it? it's usually fear that kills your dreams, not failure. That's a lot. All right, I love you too. I'm going to say ciao for now, and I got to get back to work on this book, Still Standing, which I'll start reading to you really soon because I'm going to immerse myself in it today. Like, I'm fasting, I'm not doing anything, but working really hard on Joshua's book so that he can feed his family and also to become himself a best-selling author and a speaker and everything. I appreciate it, Karen. I love you guys so much. And you know what? When you buy my books, they're really good. It's not BS. It's good. I'm a good writer. I would read you a clip, but right now I can't handle anymore. I gotta get back to work. Oh, now you come on, Annie girl. I missed you. Anyway, I'm glad you had a good time. I just really wanted to let you guys know, if you don't know me and if you've never seen my show before, but you're hearing certain things about me, come on over, get to know me, make up your own mind. And if you really want to be entertained, check out JillBooks.com. It kind of has the whole story of my life on it. So go and look over there if you want to know who I really am, because I have nothing to hide and I never have. And I'm just me, unapologetically. All right, I hope you all have a great day too. I love you guys so much, and you are my Facebook family. So, and if you want to come onto YouTube, I also do my shows on YouTube, so please check out the Beach Report on YouTube. I love you too, and you guys are awesome, and thank you for always believing in me. All right, ciao for now. See you in the next Beach Report.